The directions say, read about Jim and Evelyn's birthdays. 2. Complete the Venn diagram to show similarities, what's the same, and differences, what's different, between Jim and Evelyn's birthdays. And then here, there's a listening button where you could listen to the passages. So let's click on that so we could listen. Listen and read about Jim and Evelyn's birthday. Jim: on my birthday, I went on a horseback trail ride with friends. We rode for an hour, then stopped for a picnic lunch. We had cake, and I opened a few small presents they had brought with them. I'm going to pause that there for a second. Okay, so Jim, on my birthday, he went on a horseback trail ride with friends. He rode for an hour, then he stopped at a picnic. Okay, and then they had cake. And he opened some small presents and that they brought with them. Got it. So I'm going to press this again to keep listening about Evelyn, or you could just read it on your own. Evelyn: on my birthday, I had a party. 6 friends came over and we played games. Then we had cake and ice cream, and I opened presents. I had one huge present from my parents. It was a bicycle. Excellent. So now I just want to get rid of this part here. I'm going to click on that little blue up arrow to make it nice and big for me. Now I need to write what's different about their birthday parties on the outside of the Venn diagram, and in the middle I'm going to write the similarities, or what's the same. Okay, so on the bottom I'm going to click on the text box to open up a text box here and move it so that I could write something down about Jim. On my birthday, I went on a horseback trail ride. Okay. Horseback trail ride. And I noticed that's a really big font. I'm just going to make it a little smaller by grabbing it from the corner and moving it right there. Okay, that's perfect. And even if I just want to be fancy, I could click on the highlighter and highlight that here, right here, that shows where I got that answer. Okay, so now he got a horseback trail ride. And what about Evelyn? What did Evelyn do? She had a party. Okay, let me just highlight that. She had a party. And I'm going to open up another text box. And I'm going to write here, party. And I don't like how big that is. I'm going to make it a little smaller like I did the other one by grabbing the corners and then moving that back. Okay, got it. Keep reading. We rode for an hour and stopped for a picnic to have lunch. And what did she do? She had friends over and they played games. So they had lunch, picnic lunch, and she played games. Got it. Let me just highlight that in the highlighter. Pick a different color. So picnic, lunch, and Evelyn played games. That was different. I'm going to click on the T for the text box and write it down on the outside of the Venn diagram because that's what's different. So picnic lunch was for Jim. Smaller again. Put it right there. And I'm going to click on the T again to open up another text box. It opened up all the way up here. And here I wrote down she played games. Played games. Got it. That's what's different about their birthday party. Okay, I didn't write anything about the middle. Okay, we rode for hours. We had cake. Then we had cake. Look at that. That was the same. That's a similarity. That was the same. Okay, so they both had cake. So that goes in the middle of the Venn diagram. Okay, I'm going to write cake. Okay, awesome. That was the same about them. And I feel like I just want to maybe like put a little red dot on that or something to show that was the same. Okay, got it. All right, let me see if I find another text evidence, something else that shows it's different about them or what's the same. And I opened a few small presents they had brought with them. Okay, presents. And she said, and I opened presents. Huh. Okay, that's what's the same about them. Let me grab my text box, and they both had presents. There was a little different. Let me see. Jim's presents, he opened up small presents. I'm going to click green. Small presents that his friends brought with them. And Evelyn opened presents, and she had one huge present from her parents, which was a bicycle. I'm going to click on the T, open that up, and write down what Jim got. That was different. He had few small presents. So few means about three or more. Okay, I'm going to click it from the corner, make it a little smaller to fit in that box. If it is not perfect, it's okay. Open another text box to write down about Evelyn right here. So we said that Evelyn had one huge present. One, and huge means big, one huge present. And I like the way the author wrote the word huge with capital letters to show that the really big present. Okay, and that goes right here. One huge present. And now let me just check my work, because I know similarities is what's the same and differences are the things that are different. So Jim celebrated his birthday by going on a horseback trail ride, and Evelyn had a party. They both had cake. Yes, here it is, cake and cake. Um, Jim had a picnic lunch, but Evelyn played games. They both had presents, except that Jim had few small presents and Evelyn had one huge present. So, in order to compare and contrast, we need to go back to the text and use the details from the text to complete the Venn diagram and find out what similarities are and what the differences are outside of the Venn diagram. On the next slide, it'll be your turn to do that. Same thing, you're going to click here, you're going to listen to the stories, or you could read the stories on your own, and you could use a highlighter and the text box to complete the Venn diagram about Peter and Marcus's dogs, Speedy and Butch.